Captain's log, stardate 106. Let's get into this thing and see what the first card of whatever, Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. The week means nothing. These days mean nothing. It's Corrupt, baby. Let's F11 this bad boy. There we go. Corrupt has been reprinted a whole bunch of times. Originally printed in Urza's Saga. Yes, nailed it. All right, so this is a cool one too, by the way. But 6 mana, 5 and a black for a sorcery that deals 1 damage to a creature or player for, it's actually any target nowadays, for each swamp you control. When Corrupt successfully deals damage to a target, you gain life equal to that damage. So I love Corrupt so much. It's actually available to play in Standard, and it's done like nothing there because Corrupt isn't necessarily a standard playable card, especially by today's standards, but this is actually my favorite Drain Life variant of all time. Of all time. You know, you got Tendrils of Agony, Drain Life itself, a billion other things. There's a thing from Ice Age that you can spend either red or black, so it's like a Drain Life. There's obviously Consume Spirit, which I think is a lot of people's favorite Drain Life variant, but I like Swamps. I like a good old Urborg Corrupt combo. And yeah, I've probably won something like 0.2% of the games that I've won throughout my life by resolving Corrupt, man. I really do like this card a lot. I don't know how many people really share my love of this, but I know it's got its fans out there. I'm going to go ahead and give Corrupt the honorary 5. First card of a Wednesday. Just throw out the honorary 5. What could possibly happen? I'm going to have to give out 2 of them today. I think Corrupt is close to a 5 regardless, though. I really do. It's like a 4.7 or something, but I'll go all the way up to 5 just because I'm too much of a fan. Corrupt's so cool, man. But next is Wilderness Reclamation. This is banned in Pioneer, Explorer, and Historic. This is originally printed in Ravnica Allegiance. This is a really powerful card. 4 mana, 3 and a green for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all the lands that you control. So you see, the way Magic works, okay, is that you tap lands on your turn. All right, and then you can't tap them again. All right, they're used. They're tapped down. And then you can't use them again until your next turn. Right, so you have to budget what you do on your turn versus what you want to do on your opponent's turn and what you're bluffing for. Right, all that. A lot of considerations there. Wilderness Reclamation lets you not have to care about any of that. So really good card, man. This ruled Standard for a while I was in Standard. The Teamer Reclamation deck was sick. There's always like a weird over-the-top Teamer pile that does something. In this Standard, it was Wilderness Reclamation. Just a very hot little potato right here that has done a lot of damage in its very short lifespan in Magic the Gathering. It would do more damage, except they won't let it. You know, it's banned in so many formats. So, sick little guy here. This is like an 8. I'll give Wilderness Rec an 8 and leave it at that. I want to give it a higher score though. I'll let you know right now. I want to give this card a higher score, but 8 sounds rightish to me. Next is Dark Banishing, originally printed in Ice Age. Let's say, assume yes, it was originally printed in Ice Age with this Drew Tucker art. But the one that I think I know the most, or I've cast the most at least, is this Mirage one. Which equally, well, cool, in some cases, some ways cooler art. But anyway, Dark Banishing is 3 mana, 2 and a black for an instant. Story target non-black creature, it can't be regenerated. Excellent. Back in the day, it's not good anymore. You know, I think that Murder is kind of the standard nowadays, which is 3 mana, but it's a little harder to cast than this, just destroy target creature. And oftentimes that's not super playable. You know, you want your spells to cost 2 mana that are like point and click removal in black. But Dark Banishing is still like kind of baseline-ish. You know what I mean? Like it's never going to be like completely god awful. And in like old school or simplified cubes, I think it's a decent card to be packing, but you'll never see it in a game of Commander. Weirdly, I feel like I have to give Dark Banishing like a 4.65. Because this is, again, like a serviceable Magic card, but it is definitely below average by today's standards. So we'll move on to Kelsian, the Plague. I have no idea what this is. It's from Commander 2020, but also Secret Lair Drop. Oh, it's the Assassin's Creed thing. So this is Mardu colors, red, white, black, for a 2/2 legendary human assassin with vigilance and haste. Okay. Kelsian the Plague gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. All right. Tap. Kelsian deals 1 damage to target creature you do not control. When that creature dies this turn, You get an experience counter. Well, okay. The Orcish Bowmasters is a fine card, so I guess this might be all right. It's not, though. It's bad. It's pretty bad. So 3 mana 2/2 with 2 keyword abilities. We're not quite there yet. +1/+1 for each experience counter. Gets experience counters, but has to take out small guys. And I guess you could like pop a dude and not kill him and then hit him with like a removal spell, but that seems like a lot. If you wanted to cast some kind of sweeper effect, then this guy would probably die because he's really small. I don't know. There's probably fun ways to like build around this dude, but he's just not super impressive to me. I'm sorry. He is a $1.64. So I guess he's somewhat popular. Why? Why? Maybe in an experience counter deck where he's not necessarily the commander, but he's like a relatively cheap commander, has haste so can kill something the turn he comes down. Like, he's not horrible. He's really not terrible. So I'll give him a 4.83. I'll give something like that. Is that too low? You guys let me know. I'm not too sure about old buddy here, but I do like Mardu. Mardu's a good color combination. Oh, propaganda printed in Tempest. Am I getting that right? Let's find out. Yes. All right. I'm on a roll today. 3 mana, 2 and a blue for an enchantment. Each turn, each creature cannot attack you unless its controller pays an additional 2 mana for that creature. You want the Tempest one? It's $4.61. I think that's actually a pretty good deal. It's not bad. You can get one for like a $1.60 though, which is also a very good deal. But I really like this Tempest art. I always have. But one way or the other, I guess the other art has kind of become like the default art for propaganda, weirdly. Oh, that's a good one. The Secret Lair one. How much are you? $20. Get out of here. But anyway, yeah, this is a fantastic card, man. This should be in more. I don't know if it should be anymore, right? But there was a point where it's like this should be in every deck in Commander that can make blue mana. Or at least, you know, heavy blue decks. I feel like you put this in. But that's not necessarily true. Not at all, you know. Like, does Yuriko play propaganda? Probably not. But it could. Still, you know, propaganda is such a ridiculous effect. It really puts people off attacking you. Goodness, man. Propaganda is so good. It's so good. And, like, we're rating for casual commander. This is a card I have a lot of memories with. And it stacks, too. So if you have multiple copies of propaganda out, it's a problem. For all involved. It's so good, dude. You know, this is one of those where I want to say, like, it's not as good as it used to be, but it probably still is. You know, it's propaganda. Come on. It'll never be a bad Magic card. Ask the audience. I'm still going to rate it, but I think I'm officially using my Ask the Audience for the video here. What do you rate propaganda? Because I feel like there's going to be a spread here, but those spreads are probably all going to be above 5. I definitely think it deserves above 5. More than above 5, definitely. So with that in mind, I'm going to give propaganda a 7. Gosh, you know, I've taught myself up from like a 6.4 here. I think propaganda is a 7. Timeless, always going to be good. Really good in defensive piles, obviously, but good in nearly everything. It's just, propaganda is fantastic, dude. Easy 7, not difficult 7, but I got there in my head. I wonder if you guys did. I just feel like this belongs in the 6s somewhere, but I'm sticking with it. 7, baby. Sky Hunter Prowler is a 3 mana 1/3 flying vigilance. It's also a Cat Knight. There's a 3 mana 1/1 flying double strike that I believe is in the same set. It's infinitely better than this. It's also a Cat Knight, by the way, but this is just not good. 3 mana 1/3 flying vigilance. That's as drafty as it gets, baby. 2. Just a 2. Let's go throw a 2 at it. Right? It's got 2 keywords. Hazel's Brewmaster is up next from Bloomborough Commander. 4 mana. This is close to $6. All right. So 4 mana, 3 and a black for a 3/4 Squirrel Warlock with Menace. When Hazel's Brewmaster enters or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard and create a food token. Okay. Foods you control have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Hazel's Brewmaster. Gross. Gross, dude. Okay, so what's the combo with this, you know? Like, if foods have the activated abilities of creature cards, I guess the obvious thing is, like, exile a mana dork, right? Now, like, all your foods tap for mana, so that's kind of good. But it obviously gets very wacky. Like, oh, you could, one of those guys that taps to untap another thing, like, taps to untap a creature. Now all your foods have that ability, and that gets wild, right? Like, that gets really wild. Yeah, there's obviously abilities that are like on Tim's, right? Like tap to deal a damage, so that could get out of hand pretty quick if you had a lot of foods. I don't know, man. This seems kind of disgusting. Seems okay. 4 mana 3/4 menace isn't the absolute best stats in the world, but it does have an ETB trigger, and that's okay. It only ever really has to hit one card to be freaking phenomenal, right? Like, that seems all right. This is probably worth the $6. It's like super narrow. Like, it only goes in food decks, and it has to have something good to hit. So you have to like set it up somehow, or your opponents have to have something good, but you can't really count on that. This is pretty silly though if you do it right. Oh, its tail has like bones and stuff in it. It's awesome. Let's give this. Let's give this a 5.5. I imagine Havoc can be wrecked with this, so decent score. It's not bad. Sign in Blood, man, a classic. Ooh, when was this printed? Jeez. M10. That's wrong. That's wrong, dude. Nailed it. Oh my god. How is that? How is it possible? Magic 2010. 2 black mana for a sorcery. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Again, just classic ability here. This is still good, man. 2 mana, draw 2. There's a reason we like don't get Sign in Blood and Commander anymore. We really don't. This has been printed a bunch more times, and I think Magic 2015 is probably the most recent, standard appearance for the card. It's been like 10 years almost since we got this in standard. It's weird, but that's because 2 mana for 2 cards is just ridiculous, bro. That's so good. Why is all the versions of the card? I must have switched the language somehow. I must have actually done that. Dude, am I still going to be... Okay, cool. So the next card is Azorius Justicar. Let's remember that. But Sign in Blood? Sign in Blood gets... I wonder if that was Chinese. I have no idea what the different kanji look like. Anyway, Sign in Blood gets like a 5.1. I'm so serial. Like, Sign in Blood's good. It's 2 mana for 2 cards. It's always going to be good. Azorius Justiciar is how you're supposed to say this. Is 4 mana, 2 and 2 white for a 2/2 human wizard. When it ETBs, detain up to 2 target creatures your opponents control. Detaining basically it doesn't put a stun counter on them. It just like pacifies them for 2 turns. They can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated if they are detained. So that is not good. This isn't very good. 2.1. 2.1. This could be like useful on occasion, but like obviously super drafty card. Next is Island. Basic lands get a 5. That's some sweet full art right there. Look, New Capenna looking good. Fiery Confluence is the, I guess, final card of the day, barring any bonus cards. Fiery Confluence is 4 mana, 2 and 2 red for a sorcery. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Deal a damage to each creature. Deal 2 damage to each opponent or destroy target artifact. So 6 to an opponent for 4. Woo! All right, was this Commander 2015? The earliest it was printed? All right. Just kind of making sure there. I have never seen this card cast. I've seen it on like EDH Rec, and I've seen people talk about it in Commander videos and stuff that I do consume. I do consume Commander content, but I have never actually experienced the card. Destroy target artifact 3 times seems okay. Just Anger the Gods, but it costs 4 mana seems all right. Depending on what you're trying to kill, you can go like destroy that artifact, everything take 2, and like that's all right, I guess. So, fine card, but 4 mana seems like a bit much when like there isn't that much bombast on the, you know what I mean? Like it's never doing that much for you, but just the fact that it's a red sweeper is probably like the baseline of the card, and it just gets better from there. So I'll give Fiery Confluence a 5.17. It rounds up slightly. Let's give it a 5.22. How about that? I think a 5.22 is about right. Just an overall useful card. Right? You actually, depending on what kind of synergies you're trying to hit in your commander deck, you don't actually have that much room, like that many slots for just like generally useful cards, but this will slot in every now and again. It's still not terrible. But anyway, that is it for today, everybody. How you feel about a Wednesday? We got some good stuff today. Like 2 or 3 drafty cards, sure, but there's like a 7 and an 8 and a couple of other good little picks. So just let me know what you liked about it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.